So as you can see, wherever CZ goes, we draw quite the crowd. Everyone's here to find out what we're going to talk about just after his keynote presentation here on the stage at the Asia Blockchain Summit in Taipei.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.
We continue our coverage of the Asia Blockchain Summit, and all the big names are here and on the stage, one by one. And now I've just watched a talk with CZ. Now I've seen CZ talk many times, but this talk was very different. He spoke from the heart, and he told us the story of the Binance ICO. CZ, let's go back to the beginning. How did the idea of the ICO start?
Well, the ICO, the idea was just getting hotter as we were planning to do a new exchange. So originally we wanted to do the traditional way, so traditional fundraising, VC money, etc. But I saw another project doing ICO right before our eyes, and they raised like $50 million within 10 days. I was like, well, we could probably do that too. We have a little bit of reputation in the industry, we have a product, and we have our experiences. And then, but the final thing was the hot pot dinner in Chengdu on June 14th. Everyone's talking about ICO. Everyone's like, you should do an ICO, you should do an ICO. It's like, fine, okay, we'll do it.
So you go to this dinner that you showed us, and everyone says you should do an ICO, and the next morning you go back to your team and say, we're going to start writing a white paper.
It's actually not the next morning. It's like when I went to the hotel room at around 11 p.m. at night, I just sent a message in our group and just said, we want to start right now. And we want to get the white paper done in 3 days. And let's get going.
And how long did the white paper take?
It took about, the first version actually got out in 3 days. But the final version took about a week.
Yeah. So it took you a week to write a white paper.
Yeah.
What happened then?
And then, so the first version, we had no advisors, right? So you get the first draft, and then you talk to your friends, you talk to people you know, say, do you want to be our advisor, who basically like be your backer or be your credibility backers at least. A bunch of them said yes, and then you put their pictures into your white paper, and then you release it, and say, I'm going to do an ICO, and on which date, and this is the date to buy, and you create WeChat groups or Telegram groups and let people come in, talk about it.
And how long between the time that you decided you're going to do an ICO to the anniversary, which is actually today, when you said 2 years ago, right?
Right. So, well, from the beginning of so June 14th is the day. June 14th, 2017 is the day we said we're going to do an ICO. By July 2nd, we finished everything. We had $15 million in our wallet.
So 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And how many people were working in the background? I know you called them the 5 pizza team, but how many people were working in the background making this happen?
At the time, there were about 30 people on the team, but a large number of them were still focused on the product, the tech side. And we had to make a new website, and then we have mostly the marketing team was doing the sort of front-facing, doing the right ICOs, not roadshows, like live streaming, etc. Yeah.
So you do this ICO, 9,000 people sign up for the ICO.
Yeah.
They buy the tokens.
Yeah.
And the token starts trading, and it starts trading below the ICO price.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that was the most pressure time of your life. Now,
yes.
That was quite surprising for me, because I watched you when Binance got hacked, and I would have imagined that that was much more pressure. But you said that it was more pressure that your token holders were losing money.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's so the hack itself was high pressure, but we know we had the funds. So we lost quite a chunk of money, but it's a large chunk. But percentage-wise, it's a much smaller chunk of money than the people lost on the valuation drop. So, and then we just finished the ICO that people invested based on our credibility, based on our reputation, and they trusted us with their money. And then as soon as we launched, the price went under ICO price.
So what did you do?
We tried everything. We tried like listing more coins, getting more users onto the platform, doing more promotions, trading campaigns, gas distributions. We tried everything.
What were you thinking inside? I mean, you were the leader, you were the face.
Yeah.
Your credibility was at stake.
Yeah.
The ICO price you were 30% down on ICO price. What were the thoughts going through your head?
So, well, there's a couple of thoughts, right? So, number one is we probably overvalued the ICO. We probably should have done a $10 million ICO instead of a $50 million, or maybe even a $5 million ICO. Number two, we just got to keep building. We just got to get users faster and faster so that we have a successful business, so that the value of the coin goes back up. So I actually sent a message to the team saying, look, let's keep our heads down, not ignore, just let's take the heat, but let's keep building. And that's exactly what I said to the team.
And you took your own money and started buying up Binance BNB tokens.
Yes. So I had a little bit of savings on the side. I took all of that, put into BNB.
Which is probably a great investment now in hindsight.
Now that's worth a lot of money now. So actually, I forgot about this completely. After the BNB price went up, I don't really log into my account on Binance. So I forgot about that for a long, long time.
And if I summarize the rest of the presentation that you gave, the rest of the story is about understanding the consumer, being completely innovative, being the first to do many, many, many things.
Yeah.
Is that the secret to the success?
I think that's definitely contributed to our success. So you want to innovate and you want to find new ways to improve yourself, improve the industry. So I think that's one of the reasons we succeeded. We got to this point. And but it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what caused Binance to grow fast, because there's always many different reasons, and correlation doesn't prove causations, right? So yeah.
Speaking about growing fast, growing a small business fast is really easy.
Yeah.
Taking 30 people and growing to 300 people, that's relatively easy.
Yeah.
Taking 300 people and going to 3,000 people, or moving this big business which you now have, because you now have a big ship, that must be much more difficult. And traditionally, business growth slows down quite a lot. But you're not slowing down.
To be honest, I think we probably encounter the same kind of issues other people encounter, which is like as you grow, things gets harder. Internal communication, coordination becomes harder when it's much easier when you have 30 people in one place. You just yell over the desk. But now it's like you gotta coordinate through like different regions, different time zones. So things are a little bit harder, but I think what makes up for it is everybody in Binance is very passionate.
How do you stay innovative? How do you stay creative? I mean, you guys keep doing innovative things. How do you do that when your organization is so big and you can't communicate with everyone on a WhatsApp group?
Yeah, so my approach is basically just let them free, give them a lot of freedom. So very often I get surprised by new features, new ideas, new innovative ways. And very often I find out afterwards, the same as the public finds out. So,
do you know what's going on in Binance? If we walked through Binance's offices and spoke to the people, and I said to you, what's happening over there, would you know what's going on in every division?
To be honest, some parts not necessarily. I know like probably 80 to 90%. But for example, labs may be talking to many projects that I'm not aware of that they're thinking about investing. Most of what the tech team does, I kind of know because especially the bigger features, I kind of know. Yeah. But I don't really understand the details of what they do now. So it's grown like quite a bit above that. Yeah.
Okay, let's move to the hack. The hack was a significant event, not only in Binance's life cycle, but also in crypto as a whole.
Yeah.
You seem to look much better. You don't look as stressed anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's bygones.
Yeah.
Can you say that you came out stronger after the hack? Can you say that it forced you to tighten your security systems and to make you more vigilant?
Absolutely. I think, to be honest, even within our team, we're saying that's a blessing in disguise. So
expensive blessing in disguise.
It's very expensive, but to be honest, it could be more expensive. So it could be worse. So if you look at on the bright side of things, everything could be worse. For example, security is a never done initiative, right? So there's always more things you can do on security. You can install like metal doors. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. We actually had a number of re-architecting plans that we were doing, and that was quite hard to push because there's also business initiatives that we want to push. But after that security incident, it got to super high priority. We did probably like almost 6 months of security work within 1 week. That was
no one slept. I remember trying to get hold of you guys, and no one slept. Everyone was working. Everyone was busy. But you got through it. You stood up here and you spoke about ICOs in a period where ICOs are almost a swear word. People don't want to talk about ICOs now. People are staying away from ICOs. Yet one of the leaders in the industry stands up here and says, we should be doing more ICOs. Haven't ICOs now been replaced by IEOs? Or are you still expecting there to be both ICOs and IEOs?
I think basically the ICO itself is not wrong, to be honest. It's that people doing it, they're scammers. It's not so much the mechanism. It's not the hammer that's the problem. It's the guy using the hammer. So And because of that, I think IEO solved that problem to a large degree because we do almost every exchange will do heavy due diligence, and they have a lot of influence on the token economics. They do advisory work. But there's a limitation on number of projects an exchange can facilitate. So we do about one a month. That's kind of the max that we can do at that level of due diligence. I do think probably as time goes on, more and more people are now doing IDOs, right? That they're doing on DEX. So I think over time, as consumers, retail investors become more sophisticated, the ICO, IDO could potentially come back. And it will save us a lot of work, and it'll be good for the industry. But it's very key for the retail investors to do their own research so that they don't get scammed, they don't get hurt.
At least we have the exchanges now doing some kind of basic due diligence. Let's talk about the DEX, because you brought it up.
Sure.
It was your big initiative last year when we spoke. It was the big news that you're moving to a DEX. Now you've launched, a lot of projects are moving to the DEX and having dual listings with the Binance coin and the DEX coin and the normal coin and then traditional coin. Are you happy with where you are in that chain?
Yes, I think I'm very happy. To be honest, the adoption is so much faster than I expected. I expect maybe we have 10 projects listed by now. We have like 40-something projects listed.
And everybody wants to list. Everybody that we speak to here says, we're moving to do this thing on the Binance DEX.
So I think the Binance DEX offers many advantages. I mean, in terms of technology, it's faster, cheaper, etc. But also in terms of economics, when you're on Binance DEX, we help you market. We do a lot of service around it to help promote the growth of Binance DEX. We're one of the proponents of Binance DEX. But also, what I foresee is Binance DEX will have a large number of projects, and where we can select and choose the high liquidity ones and list on Binance.com, and that's a huge attraction factor for most projects today. So we'll continue to leverage that.
So innovating, and today you unveiled your futures platform, which looked like it was in testnet, but actually looking quite good. Tell us a bit about that.
So yes, we've been working on margin and futures at the beginning of the year, and margin is already fully live now. So, but the margin leverage is quite small still. But what's missing is the
small compared to BitMEX.
Because yes, so we do max 3x right now. We'll increase it over time.
So when 200x?
I'm not sure yet. But futures is a different type of trading, and that serves a different type of users. But having that combination of spot, margin, and futures on the same platform, accessing to the same pool of funds, so you don't have to trade on BitMEX and then move your money back to Binance for spot. And the withdrawal on some exchanges, they only do once a day, which is quite slow. So it actually hampers a lot of the trading. We think by providing a more complete suite of trading products, we can actually improve liquidity for this market.
Now, the USA has been quite a sticking point, and like most exchanges, you guys made an announcement a while back that you're going to change your interface for US users to limit the amount of tokens that they can trade. Are you worried about what's going on in the USA? A lot of the critics are saying, CZ is scared of the USA, he doesn't come and talk in the USA. Are you scared of the USA? Are you worried about the regulators there? Are you worried that with all you're doing all around the world, you may be transgressing some kind of US laws?
So I think we're very clear that we don't. We're fully compliant with every regulator. So we never step over our boundaries. We're very respectful respectful to all the regulators, to all the countries. I'm pretty confident I can go to the US and leave it at any time. There's no trouble at all. It's just that so far it's not a market that we have targeted very heavily. I'm more in Asia, so we focus more on the Asia market. The US is more or less they have a few strong exchanges there, so they do service their users quite well. But we want to give our option out there. So we partner with BAM Trading Services in the US. So we hope to be able to provide our service there.
So I've got two more questions for you, and I think these are the two most important questions that we've got here today.
Sure.
The first thing is, are we going to see an altcoin run? We've seen a Bitcoin run and a BNB run, actually, much more than a Bitcoin run. Do you think that we're actually going to get an altcoin run now?
To be honest, I'm pretty confident we will, because I think the industry is evolving. We're now seeing real projects with real blockchains coming out. So in 2017, there's all these ICOs. But now in 2019, we're seeing who has the product. So it's going
to be a very selective run of products of tokens that actually have real world use cases.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be like the old run where we could just throw a dart at the board and that token would go up.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be every project, every altcoin going up at the same time, right? So there's so many altcoins that there'll be selective ones that are strong that will go up. But I think with that list, and then there will be more new projects come in, and people are now more selective about projects. So we're going to see more stronger projects go up.
So CZ, Binance is my biggest holding at the moment, and I have to disclose that.
Yeah.
You showed an initiative there which really touched my heart, and that was that through using BNB, you could feed an African child for 76 days. Tell us a little bit about that initiative.
So I've always wanted to do philanthropy and social impact work, but I was actually quite limited in my own ability to do it. I was very lucky to bring Helen Hai on board. She's super experienced in this area, and she's super driven. She's able to push initiatives forward. So now we have 10 to 100 schools that we are helping in Africa. We're launching the new tampon project in Africa. So this is all her work. I just have the idea, and we provide a platform for her, and she's helped driving this
If we want to get involved,
yes.
And you said if we can give one BNB that gives a child food for 76 days, but that means that the child can actually go to school.
Yeah.
And I come from Africa, so I know what the problem is. How do people get involved? How can we get involved? And
so the easiest way to get involved is to go to Binance.charity, and that's the Binance charity platform, and then you can donate that directly. If you want to be involved in larger amounts, you can talk to us directly, talk to Helen's team, and then we can facilitate that. And and if you have new ideas, we're always happy to listen.
So I'm definitely going to get involved. I'm going to take some of my Binance holdings. I'm going to take 500 of my BNB tokens. I'm going to give it to this cause because one, I'm a big fan of the man, and two, I'm a big fan of the charity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's been a great pleasure having you on Crypto Trader again.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.
For more exclusive content from CNBC Crypto Trader, hit the subscribe button now.